everybody. So we are so excited. We are here to talk weddings and to talk about the royal wedding and our Royally Ever After movie for Hallmark. And I'm Rachel, and Amber's here.
Hello, everybody.
Yeah. And then we have very exciting, my friend Heidi is here to talk about this with us. She's our world traveler, and she's very nice to come on the podcast.
Hello, I'm very excited to be here.
Thanks so much. And the reason why I thought to invite Heidi onto the podcast is that you are a very seasoned traveler, as I said, and you were in England, London, for the last nuptials with William and Kate.
I was.
So,
yes.
And you're a big royal fan, follower of the royal family, all that fun stuff. So what was that like? Tell us sort of about what happened in the trip and everything.
Oh gosh, it was amazing. I just relived it all, watching this wedding and reading up on it and everything. It was so fun. We I believe we got there just the night before, and then the next day we woke up at about 4 a.m. And took the tube over to Westminster Abbey, and we stood for hours and hours and hours behind a barricade. But it was so fun because there was just so much excitement in the air. Everyone was so happy and singing songs, and just everyone was talking. And then they put another set of barricades up and let us kind of rush to the front where the procession was going to come. So I was right across the street from Westminster Abbey. And we stood for another several hours. So all told, I believe I was there for 7 hours standing, watching the procession, watching the guests come. We were right across from the doors where like Elton John and the Beckhams and a few of the lesser royals went through. It was fascinating. We talked to the Dean of Westminster and several of the police officers and things. It was fascinating. It was a blast. Saying God Save the Queen with the crowd, and it was unforgettable.
Mm-hmm.
It was so fun.
Comic-Con, but for royals.
Right, exactly. Yes. It was just a bunch of crazy people lining the street.
Yeah.
It was so great.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
That sounds exhausting.
It was exhausting. Yeah, we were in pain by the end because we stood the entire time.
Yeah.
But it was great. I mean, it was worth it.
Yeah. That's really cool. That's really cool. So we had the wedding of William and Kate in 2011, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And that was a really fun memory for me because I had a party and my friends came and we all made our own hats. It was pretty fun. Yeah, I just got like these straw hats because it was the only ones I could find. But we kind of manipulated them and played with them and put glue gun flowers onto them, and it was fun. And we had scones and all that fun stuff, herbal tea. And it was kind of a tough time for me in my life, and so it was just a happy thing. And that's how I kind of felt about this. Like I needed something that was just happy.
Yeah.
That was just joyful. And that's kind of how I felt about this wedding too. It's just people are in love. Love's a good thing. It's happy.
Yes. There's a collective joy.
Yeah. Yeah. And it had been a long time since I had felt sort of like collective joy. Like I think I tweeted something similar to that. Like it might sound weird, but like the last time I really remember feeling that way, where just everybody was enjoying something all together, was for like The Force Awakens. I remember when I went to that with my friends, and it was just like this sense of just collective happppiness.
Yeah, it's true.
It was fun. So Amber, do you remember what you did for William and Kate?
Yeah, so honestly, it wasn't too different from what we ended up doing for this year, except for instead of with my friend, it was just with all my nieces. This year it was with all my nieces. Last time I was with my friends. But my friend and I, like, we, had a tea set up. We had scones and all that jazz. We wore fascinators and had on fancy dresses, and we stayed up the entire night. We didn't go to bed. We were watching like pre-coverage, and then we were watching like all the people arriving, and then finally the actual moment. And I think theirs was earlier in the night than William and Kate's was earlier than in the day.
I think you're right.
Because I feel like part of the reason why I was kind of grumpy pants was because this was at like I was awake until 5 a.m. as opposed to like only being awake until like 3 a.m. or whatever. But also I'm older now, and apparently that requires more sleep. But so this year was fun because it was just like me and my 6 nieces, and I got them all fascinators, and I bought them all fancy dresses, and I made each of them a little bouquet of flowers, and we had the food, and like they were all wearing like fancy gloves. Like we went bananas. And they were so grouchy by like midnight. And then we started watching the William and Kate Lifetime movie. It was like a whole thing. And then by 5 a.m, they were all asleep. So they missed it.
Oh, no. I'm so jealous, though, because all my nieces are far away, and so I can't do things like that.
I mean, to be fair, I shouldn't expect, 9 to 5-year-olds to stay awake all night.
Well, and
makes sense.
For William and Kate, I just watched it on the DVR. At our party, we just had that later on in the evening. Mm-hmm. I didn't even stay up, but I just have insomnia now, and so yeah, I just stayed up. But did you have fun with your daughter Heidi? Did you do anything fun or?
Yeah, we did. So I told you we were gonna go to Park City.
Right.
And that ended up falling through. So my sisters ended up coming over last minute. And so my sisters and Lizzie and I watched it in the basement. So yeah, it was fun.
That's really, really cute.
It was great.
So we're going to go over some of just the details of the wedding. So it started out, Harry and William were the first to kind of really appear, and they were wearing blues and royals uniforms. And these are for the Guardians of the Royal Family. Mm-hmm. And Harry is the Captain General of the Royal Marines after his grandfather retired in 2017. And so this is different than what William wore, which was the red jacket. And I don't know, I thought they looked very handsome. And it was cute to see the two of them, interacting. You can tell that they have a really nice, I thought, sibling relationship. It was fun to see.
Yeah, they are always fun to see together.
Yeah.
I love trying to read their mouths, and then I never can. But
yeah.
It's my favorite.
Yeah.
It's fun to try to figure out what they're saying to each other, kind of covertly.
They're so funny.
William, I guess, wore the Irish Guards look, is what I read. Mm-hmm. So there you go. And so let's talk about some of the celebrities that we had. We had Oprah. What do you think of Oprah?
I thought Oprah looked great.
Way to go, Oprah. Way to be there. But also, I was like, Oprah, I wish you had on a different dress.
Mm-hmm.
I thought she looked great.
Yeah. I thought that it was a nice color for her.
It was a good color, but she could have had a better cut.
Yeah, I agree with you. But
I'm very picky, Heidi. You don't know this yet.
That's okay. That is okay. You're allowed.
So then one of the highlights of, I guess, not red carpet, but it felt like a red carpet, was Amal Clooney, George and Amal Clooney. She was in a yellow dress with a yellow hat that I thought looked beautiful. I mean, she's so beautiful. She's one of those people that could probably wear a burlap sack and it would look beautiful. But I thought she looked gorgeous. Was one of the highlights to me.
Yeah.
She looked good. She looked fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
She was awesome.
Yeah. And
my favorite outfit lady was Kitty Spencer. Do you remember her? She had on that green and floral and the amazing hat.
She looked amazing.
Killed it.
She killed it. Her hat was unreal. There was someone, I don't remember her first name, but the last name was Greenwood, and she was wearing a green dress and a green hat, and it was appalling. The greens were completely wrong. They didn't match. And then I saw Kitty Spencer, and I was like, yes, this is how it's done. You look amazing.
She was incredible.
She looked so good.
Well, we also had the whole cast of Suits there.
Yes.
Well, not the whole cast.
Gina Torres looked incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Just have to say that, too.
Yeah. James Corden was there. Serena Williams was there.
Mm-hmm.
They all looked pretty nice. I liked Pippa's outfit. I thought her hat was her fascinator was very pretty.
And her dress was so nice. Oh,
mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I expect that from Pippa.
Yeah.
Yes.
And like, how close was that? The same outfit that Kate Middleton's mom was wearing that she wore to Kate and William's wedding? Because I swear it was like almost identical.
I didn't notice that, but they did say that Kate Middleton's dress she wore to Charlotte's christening, I guess. So she reuses dresses, which I'm actually.
She does, yeah, which is great.
Yeah, why not? Ridiculous. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, this whole wedding was definitely smaller. It was more understated than William and Kate's wedding, which makes sense because he's not as high in the order of whatever and
getting lower.
Yeah. And it was just it felt more intimate, more small to me. So let's talk about the royal family.
But first, actually this is part of the royal family, but kind of not, but kind of.
Yeah.
Sarah Ferguson getting to be in the choir was everything. Like, can we just talk about the fact that Fergie got to be invited? I was losing my mind. And this was when it was still like 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock here. So I was like not quite grouchy, but she came in and I was like, where's she gonna sit? And she got into like the choir area and I was like, oh, what's she gonna do? Is she just like visiting people in there? Or is she gonna like actually stay in there? And she got to stay in there, and obviously she didn't sit on the royal side. But oh, she was in there. I died. I was so excited.
What did we think of the Queen in green? She had a pretty bright green jacket kind of on.
Yeah. The Queen's the best.
I love her. I love that she will wear these bright colors. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she, one of the commentators I was talking to says that when she goes out, she always wears the bright colors because she's so little that it's hard for crowds to see her. But if she wears bright colors, then like people far away can be like, that's the Queen!
Oh, that's cool.
It's so cute.
That's really cute.
So she really does it in service to the people that she wears the bright colors so that they can spot her. She's the best.
Disappointment for me of the guests was Beatrice and Eugenie. Their hats were very disappointing.
They had to do it. They were crucified at the last wedding for their hats. I saw them and instantly thought, oh, of course they went really understated because they were ripped to shreds at Will's wedding.
But they were ripped to shreds, but it was also kind of a highlight. So
it was. It was amazing.
I guess I can understand from their perspective, but I guess I was hoping they would go sort of Lady Gaga and just sort of embrace it.
Yeah.
But I can understand, I guess, why.
Well, I think the thing is, too, they weren't trying to, I mean, at Will and Kate's wedding, they weren't trying to be like, look at us, we're stealing the show. And I think if they had done anything like that, then people would have come at them and said, like, oh, you're just trying to upstage the bride, you're trying to blah, 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 blah. Whereas this way, they were like, make fun of my pillbox hat now, bees. Like,
yeah, it's true.
There were a lot of mean comparisons to the stepsisters in Cinderella. I remember
there always are.
Poor Beatrice and Eugenie.
I know.
I love them. And like, I know we're not going to get to have a big giant wedding for Eugenie, but I want one so bad.
Yeah,
they're my favorite.
It would be.
They're great.
It would be fun. So yeah, then we had the other, I guess, notable family. We had Meghan's mother, Doria Ragland, and she was so sweet. I thought this whole wedding, she was lovely.
She was so cute. Her facial expressions, and she was so sweet. And I have to say, I really loved the way Prince Charles kind of, when they walked out on the steps afterwards, he looked like he was being so kind and so considerate of her. I loved that.
You really got a feeling in this wedding, maybe more so than William and Kate, that this really is a family. Yeah. This was a family wedding that we were all like able to spy in on. Yeah. Which was kind of sweet, I thought. And you can kind of forget that because they're the royal family, but they are still family. Mm-hmm. And so then we got the arrival of Meghan. let's talk about just her arrival first, and then we'll talk about the dress. But so she decided, so her father wasn't able to make it because he had heart problems, issues anyway. And so she ended up walking half the way by herself with her bridesmaids and pages and page boys. And then Prince Charles walked her the rest of the way up the aisle. First of all, how adorable was it that she picked all children as her attendees? That was so cute.
So cute. I loved that.
Yeah. And Charlotte was so adorable.
She is the cutest thing.
I thought they were so cute. I thought that was I've never seen that at a wedding, to people just use all children as your attendants. That was really cute, I thought.
It was cute.
Anyway, yeah, and then she has Prince Charles walk her the rest of the way down the aisle, which was very sweet, I thought.
And according to my terrible lip reading, when Prince Charles dropped her off, Prince Harry was like, "Thank you, Pa."
That's what I thought he said too. And my sisters were like, "No, he would not say that." And I'm like, "I think he did. I think that's what he said."
You and your viewing and me and my viewing both coming up to the same conclusion. I believe that's a fact.
Yeah, it is. We're going to say that's fact now.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it was adorable when he said
it was adorable.
Cute.
I know.
And she had a long veil, which then Harry took off, and that was one of the best moments. I always say with my friends that are wedding dress shopping, you need to get a veil. Like, people think they don't need a veil, but the veil is what distinguishes a dress from a prom dress into a wedding dress. It just makes the look. And when she had that moment when he took off the veil and she was just beaming, it was so cute. I thought really one of the highlights of the night for me.
That was very cute.
Yeah. And so her dress, there was lots of speculation about the dress. It ended up being designed by Givenchy and by a designer named Claire Waite Keller. Did have a long train, and the tiara she got from the Queen. It was a Windsor tiara. So Heidi, what do you think of the dress?
I thought it was fantastic. I thought it was just beautiful.
Yeah.
I loved it. And her veil was stunning.
I was surprised that it was more traditional than I was expecting. The whole wedding was more traditional than I was expecting, because she's always been billed as a super modern whatever woman, and everything felt very, very traditional. It felt like something from I would say from the 50s, kind of. Had sort of those styles. And I thought it was pretty. And she looked pretty. I really, like I said, loved the veil. And it was very simple, but the message of the whole wedding seemed to be about tradition and simplicity and family. It was so I don't know, I guess it makes sense when you think about it. But Amber, what did you think of the dress?
That's it.
Yeah.
She came out in her dress and I was like, meh. I mean, it's nice. I was not wowed. I feel like as the bride, you should probably strive to have a better dress than the people coming to your thing. And I don't feel like she was even in the top 30 of dresses that have attended her wedding.
Don't you?
No, I was like, okay, whatever.
It's
fine. It was lovely. She looked great, but I felt like it could have been more.
Yeah.
Whatever. It's what she wanted, I guess.
I thought she looked great. I loved it, but it was nothing to Kate's dress.
No.
I mean, nothing to Kate's dress.
Yeah.
Fact.
I agree.
But again, I thought she looked great. I thought it was beautiful.
Yeah, I agree. And she had her hair up with some bangs out. Which was an interesting choice. And so there you go. And she did have a second dress that she wore later that was more of like a halter top kind of a top. And that I actually thought was a little bit more flattering. But they were both pretty. They showed off her curves, like she doesn't have curves, but it showed her body well, I thought.
She has no curves.
Her evening dress or whatever, her reception dress was way better than her actual bridesmaid, or like her actual wedding dress. So I just feel like she made mistakes. Mistakes were made.
But as long as she was happy with it, that's all that matters.
Yeah,
Okay.
and we're never going to talk about it together, so she doesn't care what I think.
Yeah.
I just sort of feel like Grace Kelly is the gold standard of princess wedding dresses.
Uh-huh.
And she had to know there was already going to be comparisons to the Grace Kelly thing.
Uh-huh.
And, of course, the Kate thing.
Yeah.
So, I guess she decided to not compete with them. But really, you should try to be better than them. That's the whole point of fashion, is to move forward and to try to improve.
Yeah, but
I just
fashion
whatever,
is also extremely subjective, so maybe she did think that. So anyway, moving on. There was a singer that I thought was beautiful. As she walked down the aisle, there was a singer. Her name, she was a Welsh soprano, Lynn Manahan Thomas, and then later on there was a cellist named Shaku Kana Mason. And I thought, as a whole, I thought all the music was beautiful and very traditional, except for one moment. But I don't know, I thought that was really, it wasn't like a traditional wedding march, but I just thought it was beautiful.
And did they walk down the aisle too fast? Because it was like a full 2 minutes of them just listening to her sing.
I don't know. I just thought it was so pretty. It sounded really nice. And then we got a reading from Diana's sister, Jane Fellows. So that was nice. And then they had their first sort of vows, and the vows were very traditional vows. I was a little surprised that they threw in the love, honor, protect. She swore that Harry would love, honor, and protect her, for richer or poor, of course. And I don't know, because she's billed as this super feminist, and I was a little surprised, but I thought it was sweet and nice. And he said everything was very traditional, I thought.
Yeah, it was.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was great.
Mm-hmm. And they could just tell they were so much in love. It was so cute. The way they were kind of whispering to each other, and that was really fun. And so then we got, after they did their first vows, before they did the rings later, we had Bishop Michael Curry gave the address. He is one of the heads of the church
Episcopalian Church.
Episcopalian, sorry.
Yeah.
And one of the heads of the Episcopalian Church here in America brought him over, and it was definitely boisterous for the royal family. But actually, what did you think of what he had to say, Heidi?
I died. I was dead. We were in my room. We were screaming. But this is my sisters and I are all of one mind, basically, when it comes to this. You are in this chapel. You need to keep it. You need to pull yourself together. It was too much for me. I was like, what was it, 13 minutes long? About 2 minutes in, I was like, sit down. I've had enough. You're making a fool of yourself. And we were in hysterics. I couldn't even breathe looking at the people's faces in the audience. I was dying. The royals were like, what? We can't have this. I couldn't take it. But yeah. I think I'm in the minority with that.
I don't know. Amber, what do you think?
I don't think you're in the minority on this podcast. It was way too much for me. I understand people appreciate that, and I appreciate that kind of preaching sometimes, but I feel like I can only appreciate that kind of preaching when you're in a setting where it's appropriate to be like, right. Hallelujah, yeah, amen. And this is not a setting where people they're not allowed to clap. They're not allowed to react, to respond. So him acting in that way, I know that's how he preaches and that's what they signed up for, and that's fine. But it was just not appropriate for the occasion. And so since no one was allowed to be like, hallelujah, it was just really awkward and weird. It's and his message was good, but he also just was very repetitive, and he kept saying the same things over and over and over. And because it was so uncomfortable, because everyone couldn't respond in the way that you have to in order for these sermons to build and to whatever, it was just super awkward for me. And I was like, this is not okay for 5:30 in the morning.
No, I was ready to lose my freaking mind by the end of it. I just was, we had lost it. And clearly the royal, I mean, everyone in that audience, everyone in that church was just their face. It was so dang funny.
Yeah.
I loved the reactions of the people in the church.
The reactions were pretty funny. I guess I didn't mind it as much as you guys did. I thought it was, I thought he had some really beautiful words. I thought he said at one point, we must discover the power of love, the redemptive power of love. And when we discover that, we will be able to make of this old world a new world. Love is the only way. I thought that was really nice. And then another quote that I wrote down is, he said, there's power in love. There's power in love to help and heal when nothing else can. There's power in love to lift up and liberate when nothing else will. There's power in love to show us the way to live. So that was really nice. So it was definitely over the top, and it was definitely, but I don't know. I felt like his heart was in the right place, and I enjoyed it. But yeah, it was definitely interesting.
Yeah.
Yes,
I mean, I think the thing is, I think he just kept going longer because he was trying to wrench a response from people.
Yes,
I was like, right. I'm sorry, sir, this is not the crowd to wrench a response from.
Come here.
So, all right. Well, then they had the choir sing "Stand By Me," which I thought was one of the highlights. I thought that was really cool. Really cool.
I thought the choir sounded great, but I thought the song choice was so strange again for that church.
I was fine with the song choice and the arrangement and everything. I felt like it was okay. I don't know. It wasn't like, I mean, everyone was like, wow, I need get that recording. It was the best thing I've ever heard. And I was like, have you not been around a lot of choirs? Like, that was like a good performance, but it was not outstanding. Like if I was going to give it an A, a grade, I'd have given it like an A minus A, like, great job, but also not like, hold the phone. Did you guys just hear that? Let me rewind and listen to it again.
Yeah.
And that's how people were reacting. And like, as we've learned this week, like Leanne Laurel, everyone hears things differently, but it just was, I was like, it's fine.
Yeah, I thought it was cool because they did all these traditional hymns, and those were beautiful. But it was just, I never heard that played at a wedding, and I thought it was kind of nice. So I enjoyed that, and and then that was basically the end of the wedding. They exchanged rings, and Harry is actually going to wear a wedding band, which I guess is somewhat breaking tradition. Because Charles and William did not wear wedding bands. So that's interesting. And then we had the processional going through town, and that was really fun. And then they had 2 receptions. So there you go. That was the royal wedding. And it was just something I just felt like I needed, just something super happy, and I could just enjoy them being in love and enjoy watching it. I just had a great time with it. So
it was a lot of fun.
There we go. Yeah. And it probably will be the last royal wedding televised for a long time. So
I know. It makes me kind of sad.
Yeah.
I mean, like, if there is a demand for it, can't we just get you genies on?
That's what I'm thinking. Come on. Throw us a bone here. Wait, I'd love to see it.
Yeah, like, I don't care how big it is. Like, I just want to see you genie.
Yeah, I would love it.
Then we had Royally Ever After was the movie that night from Hallmark. And we were pretty excited for this because we had interviewed the director, Lee Friedlander, and we had interviewed the star, Fiona Gubelman. So we were pretty pumped, I think, for this movie. But I'm really curious for your response, Heidi, since I don't know, are you a regular Hallmark movie watcher or not?
I am not.
Okay.
But I will watch them every once in a while, and I think they're adorable.
Oh, good.
Now, would you say you're like a Christmas viewer or like a Christmas probably, sometimes?
Probably a Christmas viewer.
Yeah.
That's the majority, I believe, of the Hallmarkies crowd.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah. So this plot in this movie is about a school teacher named Sarah who boyfriend Danny proposes, and then he tells her that he is a prince and he has to get permission from his parents in order for them to get married. So she goes to St. Ives, where he is the prince, and his parents are not that big of fans of her, and they make things difficult, and his sister is especially not a big fan. And then her parents end up getting involved, and all that's fun stuff. And so, Heidi, what was your overall feeling about this film?
I thought it was super cute. I mean, I think it followed the formula of Hallmark movies, you know, but which is to be expected. I don't know. I thought it was adorable.
Yeah.
I would watch it again. I watched it by myself. I would watch it again with Lizzie or my sisters or my sisters-in-law or whatever.
Oh, good. Yeah. Well, you're talking about a few ways that it actually breaks formula, but yeah, that's good to hear. Amber, what did you think of it overall?
I really enjoyed it a lot. There were some things that didn't work for me, but for the most part, I thought it was really cute. Fiona Gubelman in this was insanely adorable.
Yeah.
Like, it was ridiculous.
Yeah.
So it was a good time all around.
Mm-hmm. And I really, really enjoyed it too. I don't think there's another one this year called Royal Hearts, which I think is still my favorite of these royal movies from this year. But this was very, very sweet. And it was kind of refreshing in a lot of ways. We'll talk about it. But yes, I agree. Fiona Gubelman was adorable. She was just, you could just tell she was having the time of her life, which she was, if you listen to our interview. And this is her third movie for Hallmark that she's done. She had done Tulips in Spring, which is not our fave. And then Christmas Next Door, which I really liked. And then her fiance is played by Torrance Coombs, and this was his Hallmark debut. And what do you think of him?
I thought he was great. I thought he was super cute. Played the part really well.
Amber?
I thought he did a good job. Some of the stuff that the prince was doing was super irritating to me, like not telling her royal protocols before they went there. Like,
that's true.
Like, I mean, how hard would it have been for him to be like, oh, this is just like the training session they have halfway through? Why couldn't he have just told her that stuff? Like, if I was going to go someplace and my boyfriend was like, good luck, I would be mad. And he just kind of was like, you're cute, it's fine. And I'm like, well, no, there's like legitimate protocols and ways to do things. So why don't you just tell me a little bit about your culture?
Yeah, I do agree with you there. But I did love like the little training montages and stuff like that. Were super cute. And I thought they had good chemistry together, which goes a long way with this. And one of the things that makes this movie really unique is that they actually start out in love. And so I think I tweeted out that they actually kissed at the 2-minute 53-second mark, which was very exciting. Like, normally you wait until you have 2 minutes and 53 seconds left in the movie, and then you finally this was the fact that they were actually a couple and getting together was kind of unique for a Hallmark movie.
Well, not for a sequel, but definitely for a first one.
Yeah. For a first-time movie, it was kind of unique, and so they were pretty affectionate, which I thought was fun.
What do you think, Heidi?
I like I said, I don't watch very many Hallmark movies, and I think that the whole thing was pretty cliched and, you know, predictable, but it was adorable. I mean, it was just so cute. I thought both of the actors, the main actors, were just so cute and seemed like they were having a great time. And Fiona was awesome and seriously adorable. Where has she been? Does she just do Hallmark?
So she's done the 3 films for Hallmark, but she's also on the show The Good Doctor. I don't know if you've ever heard of that show.
Oh, I have. Yeah. Who is she?
She plays, forget her name, the character's name, but she's kind of a catty, kind of competitive doctor.
I will have to keep my eyes peeled because I do watch that.
Yeah, she's totally different character in that show than on this, because she's kind of cutthroat and because she's one of the residents that is trying to get the same spots as some of these other doctors, and so she's basically like, I'm gonna, we're in this is a competition, like you know.
Yeah.
So she's not super cute. I mean, she's good, but it's totally different than here.
Okay.
But yeah, and she's done a couple other shows. She did One Day at a Time for Netflix. Okay. She had a role in there and a couple other things. But she's really a fun actress. I really enjoy her. And I had never seen Torrance Coombs before, but evidently he's on Reign, or he was, or I don't know.
Yeah, Hallmark is like, we need a British guy. Let's go to Reign and get these Canadian guys who pretend to be British pretty well.
Yeah. And he did do a really good job pretending to be British. The whole thing was filmed in Ireland, and I think it was very pretty.
It was.
Job. It looked expensive. And I loved all the little like picnics that they went on. I'm a big fan. One thing I don't like in these Hallmark movies is when the couple doesn't really get to spend very much time together because there's various contrivances that keep them apart. Mm-hmm. So you never get to see them like going on cute little dates and whatever. Like I like that kind of stuff. And so this had tons of that, and I was a big fan. I liked when they went to the soda shop and had their cute little date. And I don't know. I like that.
Yeah. Actually, a lot of this movie reminded me of a lot of the beats that they took out of Once Upon a Prince that I liked from the book, like the soda shop thing and like running from the paparazzi. So that was interesting and fun.
From this year, Heidi, that was pretty good.
What's it called?
Once Upon a Prince.
Okay.
It was pretty cute.
I'll take a look.
So she was kind of like I'm trying to think. She had fun relationships with everybody in the staff, and that was pretty enjoyable.
Yeah, I really liked. Yeah, I liked her interacting with the staff and bringing them muffins and getting them to make her protein shakes and all that stuff. Yeah. I was kind of like, oh, you're in a vacation at a castle. Stop going for jogs and eating protein shakes. But clearly, fitness and nutrition are not like my thing. I'm like, give me cookies. I need to binge watch 100 Hallmark movies. But I did enjoy the cute little interactions she had. And I liked that she finally got over being hesitant of helping Lena do things. And one of the things that I thought was interesting that this movie did pretty well was a lot of the times I think people are like, oh my gosh, I don't want someone to like help me pick out my clothes and do my things. Like I'm a grown up. I can do those things for myself. But like, everyone knows royal people can do those things for themselves, but the reason why they have like a ladies' maid who picks out your outfits is because they provide jobs for people. Like running a castle is not just for fun. It's like, this is so people can have jobs. Like if the royal people just decided like, you know what, we're just going to cook our own meals, the entire kitchen staff would be out of jobs. And that would be a huge deal because there's like a staff of hundreds.
Well, I put on Twitter, I'm like, if she just watched Downton Abbey, it would have
I know. This would have solved a lot of problems for her.
Yeah, it's true. Matthew Crawley already like dealt with all this. He learned. So what did you think of the parents, her parents and his parents?
At first, his parents drove me crazy. Obviously, the mom more than the dad. I felt like the dad was trying to be a little bit more understanding of things. Mm-hmm. And her parents, while adorable, kind of made me cringe a little bit just because they were, I think they were supposed to. You know, they were just like these working class, like, you know, these folks that were, they were adorable, but they were a little bit cringy, which was the point. And it was cute.
Her parents were a little much for me. I'm not going to lie. Like, his parents were, like, right on par with, like, stiff queen. Like, that's just standard practice. I'm used to it. But her parents were a little too, like, well, golly gee, they done got plumbing in this place. Like, it was way too much for me. Any normal person could handle the fact that, like, yeah, it's fine if the butler takes our luggage. Not like, is that luggage guy gonna steal my luggage? Like, and then I don't know why they made them like, people from New Jersey are not like, they've never seen television movies before. Like, they've seen Cinderella. They understand what footmen are.
Funny though how she said I think her mom was in food distribution or something like that. Her dad was in
property development. Yeah.
Pretty funny.
I'm like, just be real. Come on.
But also, like, it was so foolish of these British St. Ives, whatever parents, to think that bringing her parents would help. Like, he's already met them. He knows them. Like, why on earth would that be somehow dissuade him from being interested in her?
They were like, oh, this will help quash the rumors of the relationship. I'm like, yeah, inviting the in-laws over is super casual.
Yeah, right.
We're just going to tell everyone this is a warm friendship. That doesn't work.
Like, literally nobody's buying that, queen.
Right.
It was your worst idea.
It was fun, but I actually thought it was kind of cool that his parents, they tried, I think, at least to develop their characters a little bit, give them some time together, give them some dialogue, which I thought was nice. At least they weren't just complete stiffs. Like, they had some character development, which I liked.
Yeah.
I thought they nailed the party scene when she comes down. I thought that whole scene just worked great. Her dress was so beautiful. Even her dancing, that whole party scene, I thought was great.
Her saying no, like, they nailed it.
Yeah.
It reminds me of my favorite Cinderella movie, The Slipper and the Rose, where she's like, I have to go, bye, because it'll be better for the kingdom. I was like, tell him that it wasn't love. Way to go. You nailed it.
And I like,
she certainly behaved like a princess.
Yeah. And she packs up, she leaves, and you think, like, he has a moment where he's gonna come after her, but he's, like, too late. And, like, I thought it was kind of cool that they let her be sad for just a little bit of being sad. And, like, it wasn't, I don't know, they could have made that ending even cheesier. Like, that, like, him running after her, whatever, and her giddy. Like, I just felt like, oh, that was cool that they, like, made him struggle a little bit, made her struggle a little bit. And then finally we get our happy ending, of course.
I loved the moment where she was sad in the kitchen with her mom, and she's like, I'm just going to go away for a minute. And as she's leaving, she just, like, snags a cookie. I was like, that's correct. No protein shakes. This is a cookie moment.
Yeah.
That's right. You've got to have your comfort food right now.
Yeah. And yeah, the proposal was really fun at the end. There you go. Royally Ever After. Amber, how many crowns did you give this one?
I gave it 4.2 crowns.
Yeah, very high.
Pretty yeah, that's pretty high.
So we give out of 5 crowns. Heidi, what do you think? You would, in your limited experience, what would you give it?
I would say 4.
Yeah.
Heidi's a tough critic.
I am really tough. I know nothing.
I'm going to give it 4.5 crowns. I thought it was really fun. I really enjoyed it. There's not that much I would change. Yeah, you could tone the parents down a little bit, but that's about it. I really liked, like, seeing an actual relationship and seeing it ebb and flow, and it was refreshing for me. And so I have in my ranking for Hallmark movies, of this year, I have it a number 4. I have it just after One Winter Weekend, and I have it just before The Beach House. So there you go.
That's where
I have it.
I'm going to have to check these out.
Yeah.
In my opinion, you can skip The Beach House.
No, don't listen to her. It's really good. So there you go. That is our thoughts on the wedding and on Royally Ever After. So that was pretty fun. And let us know what you think about this, about the wedding, about this movie. Put in the comment section or let us know on Twitter what your thoughts are. We'd love to hear. And Heidi, thank you so much for coming on and talking with us. This is so fun.
This was great. Thanks so much for asking me.
No problem. We're so thrilled. And Amber, where can people find you?
As always, I'm at Amber Brainwaves on Twitter, and that's it.
Great. And you can find me at Rachel's Reviews on iTunes and on YouTube. Check that out. I would really love for you to give my channel a listen. And make sure you're following us at Hallmarkies Podcast on all the social media and anywhere you can listen to podcasts. We are on there. Check it out. We'd love your feedback and reviews. And make sure you're checking out this week. We have our review of recap of Good Witch. And then we also will be having next week, we will be ranking Lacey Chabert movies with our friend Emma from from the Hallmark. So that should be super fun. And because we all love Lacey Chabert. So a lot of fun stuff going on. And thanks so much. And we will talk to you all later. Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks.